words, our words. For the love that surrounds the magic lamp. And now, a big yay for the artist!
Oh my goodness, that was funny. Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Oh. Okay.
Let's see. Ian Max is on deck. Eileen Marcus is up now.
Today is a very special day. It's March 4th. Quite the command. March 4th. Into IWOW, into the night, into remembering, into our friends, into our hearts and love. First of all, the most important thing about tonight is I matched my coat to the cake. You see it? See it? That doesn't just happen, people. Right? I did match my coat to the cake. I'm going to cake first. I don't know, but I'm pretty sugared up. I like my cake like I like my coffee. A little coffee in my cream, a little cake on my frosting. So tonight is IWOW 21. Woo! In my day, 21 was legal drinking age, so it was really something to celebrate. But 21 is quite an accomplishment. It's a prime number. We all know that. Couldn't tell you what a prime number. It's not a prime number? Oh, wait. Let me redo that. 21 is so special it is not a prime number. But it is 21 tonight. And 21 years ago, our friend Deb Kaufman had a vision about building community, about gathering, and about sharing parts of ourselves that I know, at least for me, maybe I had hidden for a lot of years, and about stepping out and building something different. And for that, we all honor Deb tonight. And I want to remind you that being part of the IWOW community is just not a privilege, it's an honor and a commitment. We are one of the strongest community elements of the Center for Peace Through Culture, which is now 3 years? 3 years. That's funny, I can do math, but no prime numbers. 3 years old. But I would like to make a plea for putting our money where our mouth is. The center does need donations. It takes cash, it takes jingle, it takes checks, it takes stocks. You got it, it'll take it. Because we need to move this into the future. And we need to sometimes, as we're all learning, vote and pray with our feet. And sometimes our feet first go to the bank machine and then to where we want to go. So it would be really great if everybody could take a minute to really kind of put that action into that thought into action tonight. And if you can't do it tonight, make a donation on the website, make a donation in honor of, make a donation, use a pink pen if you want, but please make a donation to the center and it would be greatly appreciated. So, what are the IWOW rules? Anyone? Rules. IWOW rules. Turn your phones off. Good rule. Any other rules? 5 minutes or Denise is going to come with the hook. What are the other rules? Unconditional acceptance. You win. Woo! Other rules. Have fun. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. Okay? Have a great time. My first bullet point, I didn't even get to them yet. Talk up the cake and visiting. I think I did that. Okay. Yeah, the cake matches. Okay. We're also running a food drive. So that's important. We do have food insecurity in the Berkshires. If you can give everything, you can do it now, you can do it later. And guess what? Cash also turns into food. So you can give cash that then can be given for food. Any IWOW virgins? Any? Woo! And tell us your name. It's not in it. Welcome, Lynn, to IWOW. And that really is the beauty of IWOW. We're celebrating 21 years, and there are new people and new faces and always fresh things to look about. If you're not on our list, everybody knows our fabulous list keeper, track keeper, theme keeper, Denise. And CCP, and we're going to say it again at the end, but thank you to Melanie and Center for Peace Through Culture. Woo! And what you're building. Oh, and Joe from CTSB. Oh, yeah, we want to talk about that for a minute. Someone, you may ask, where do I find the videos? Tell them, Joe, where do they find the videos? And if you Google IWOW Berkshire Television, they pop right up. So you can find them, you can bookmark them on YouTube, and you can watch them again and again, especially me matching the cake. You can watch that again and again. So that's mostly of what's going on. We'll do announcements after. I'm Eileen Marcus, I forgot. And I have the privilege of hosting tonight, which means it's my job. What? Oh, I wasn't even going to mention. I forgot that rule. Another rule. If you don't want to be filmed for some reason, you're on the run, you have a history, there's some sort of past. We want to hear the story, but it doesn't have to be filmed. So please, details, but no film if you don't want to be filmed. I'm Eileen Marcus. I am one of the newer comers. I've been coming to IWOW about 5 years now. And I'm going to read first. Our theme is 21, which we talked about, 21 years of Deb's brilliance. So my name is Eileen Marcus, and on deck is Mr. Ted Phelps. 21. When I was 21, I left from London after buying a $360 Eurorail pass with just $70 in my pocket and all the wrong clothes in my backpack. I took the hovercraft service from Dover, England to Dunkirk, Calais, France, close to the Belgian border, one of the shortest crossings to get to Europe, although I still got seasick. That ferry hovercraft stopped running 19 years later in October 2000. I had a total misunderstanding that the trip was 3 days to get from London to Greece. I didn't bring enough food or have enough money or a washcloth for my face. When I was 21, I knew how to smoke hash under a glass with a straight pin to gather the smoke and take it all in my lungs, not to waste an iota of that sweet substance so the youth hostel or pensione wouldn't kick me out. I had all the time in the world to sip coffee in a cafe in the piazza and people watch, to take as long as I needed to stare at the David in Florence, the Sistine Chapel in Rome, to visit again and again Bernini's statue at the Galleria Borghese in Rome, the Rape of Proserpina, and wonder how he worked, how he crafted those fingers, grabbing, digging into her flesh, putting that motion in the marble. I had days and nights on the train to think about what Michelangelo said, and I'm paraphrasing here. I didn't create that work. God did. I merely removed what was needed to see the beauty underneath. I dreamt of creating a masterpiece, of living among the artists and dreamers. I didn't care when I was 21 about what was for dinner or calling my mother. I wanted adventure, and I traveled back roads in small towns and had conversations and observations about how society can live and what is important to have a full life. At 21, I was told in a college lecture that only 5% of women in the world make $20,000 a year. I wanted to be special and above average. I wanted to make at least $20,000. I had a dream of living in New York City and being the mayor. That didn't happen. And having an apartment with a doorman. That did happen because. At 21, I said goodbye to my maternal grandfather, Maurice, known as Max, one of my favorite people in the world, born in Poland, escaped to America, and carried the guilt with him his whole life because he was the only one of 8 children and dozens of cousins to survive the war. He was a baker, and I couldn't wait for Wednesdays after school when he picked us up in his brown Chevy Nova, and we didn't have to walk the 12 blocks home. He would lay newspaper on the kitchen table and start whipping up ingredients, letting me and my sisters stir or roll or knead. And then he would go buy pizza, and we would eat the cake he made for dessert. Well before I was 21, I knew that the mood changed when my father came home. I didn't understand genius. He was a GE engineer and then went out on his own as a consultant. He worked on many of the conveniences we take for granted today. The automatic ice maker. He used to come home and go like this. This is what I did all day. The automatic ice maker, the flat top glass stove, remote control drones, and several parts of the lunar landing module. I resented school break driving to Florida. I was angry that we were too poor to fly, that we spent days in the Chevy Impala station wagon with the rear facing seat and door tailgate, no seat belts. We were always racing to see a rocket launch, to see the pieces he had made for lunar module launch into space. I didn't know how important that was or how special to see that standing behind the chain link fence in the shifting sand that blew into my eyes and my mouth, waiting for hours when we could have been at the beach or back home playing with my Barbie dolls. My father died 4 years before I reached 21, before I knew what it meant to own a business and provide for a family, before I understood children learn what they live, and all I saw was an angry and frustrated man with a temper. When I was 21, I wanted adventure. I didn't know that adventure would be surviving cancer, miscarriages, a heart attack, watching my daughter grow and get engaged Saturday night, hoping for grandchildren. I didn't know adventure would be loss or love or the quiet kind of courage it takes to keep going when the map you drew for your life turns out to be wrong and you need to draw a new map. I didn't know adventure would be learning to soften, to forgive, to stand still long enough to witness beauty, not just in statues and cathedrals, but in people and in conversations, in the way laughter fills a room, in the way someone holds the door for you or hands you a cup of coffee just the way you like it, when you laugh at something so unexpected and it starts to hurt. At 21, I was 43 years away from being with all of you, from knowing who I am, to celebrate Deb Kaufman and the IWOW community who showed me not only how to draw a new map, but how to live in my map, to find the joy and connection. At 21, I thought the world was mine to conquer. Now I know the world is ours to hold. And tonight, here with all of you, this is the masterpiece. This is the adventure. Woo! All right, thank you. Heartfelt.
Overcome rampant, ineffable angst, distressed, and yearning. Thank you, Deborah.
Give you some applause you can hear because our cameras. Oh, well.
On deck is Susan Solivet. Up now is Ted Phelps. Hi, Ted.
Hello, dear.
The case of Charlene. In a world ravaged by economic disparity, where medical aid was a luxury reserved for the elite, survival often depended on the most unconventional means. It was the year 2046, and hang on, 2046. That's 21 years from now. The story goes on for a page and a half, but let's go back 1 week. IWOW's coming. Theme is 21. It's great. I understand that. I love the image done by AI. Thanks for that. Maybe I can come up with a plot the same way I did for December. Close my eyes, sitting up, but dream. 21 years from now. Do that. It'll be a dystopian future. I see a boy as teenagers eating a sandwich. I don't know. He's got one of those toothpicks. He bites in. Oh no, it's stuck in his throat. He's bleeding. He can't get help. It's a dystopian future. Okay, type that. 4 days ago, I go to my Word, Microsoft Word, open up a blank thing. I don't know what I'm going to do, but up at the top, because I signed up for it last year, free, says compose with Copilot. That is AI, artificial intelligence that can write a story. It wrote this. I gave it the prompt because, I had already dreamed that up. I then said, oh, I'm going to do what our daughter just told me, and I just signed up for. Because I usually use Microsoft and other things to read back my text. It helps me find errors. But listen to this. The Case of Charlene, a dystopian tale. Text dreamed up by AI Copilot in Microsoft Word, with core ideas dreamed by a human named Theodore K. Phelps. In a world ravaged by economic disparity, where medical aid was a luxury reserved for the elite, survival often depended on the That is not a recording of me. That's AI simulating my voice. Seeing your faces, let's hear a little more. It was the year 2046, and the divide between the rich and the poor had grown into an unbridgeable chasm. The billionaires lived in fortified cities with access to the best. Yeah. So AI plus AI. Then our daughter, who's using this to help with a project she's working on, told me about a thing that Google has free of charge. I'm not even going to give up. You'll recognize this.
All right, so we're diving into something a little bit different today, the Case of Charlene. And this story is going to take us on a trip to a future that honestly is kind of a nightmare.
Yeah.
Picture this: billionaires chilling in these like fortified cities, have got all the healthcare you could imagine.
Right.
And then there's everyone else scraping by just to survive. And in this world, even a tiny injury could be like lights out.
Yeah, and you know what really gets me about the story is that it feels so real, right?
This thing is gorgeous. These two voices, they're AI. They're not only that, they're thinking, if I can put it that way. I cannot describe it differently from that. It's, I use their pronouns as she. It'll create a podcast. If you upgrade, you can have choices. This is two people, podcast style. Incredible. I've put 4 of my stories into it, which of course I know. I've delivered them here, most of them. They contemplate them. It's very satisfying, to have someone else read your story, much less have 2 people on the radio talking about it. By the time I did 4 of them, they close it off, and the guy says, and check out more stories by Phillips. He's got a lot of good stuff. Oh. Yeah. Tilt them up by bending. Like that, yeah. And the other one too. So I can stop this at any point for my time. I don't know what I've got going, but I'll close off. Now we're going to hear the ending. Yeah. Here's the ending of the podcast. And I've seen them do this every single time. They find the sweet thing in it.
Becomes his caregiver.
Yeah.
And I mean, she doesn't just take care of him physically, right?
No way.
She's there for him emotionally too.
Charlene.
She basically becomes family.
She's the bright spot in this whole thing, right?
Totally.
In a world where everyone's just trying to survive on their own,
yeah,
Charlene chooses compassion. It's incredible.
It makes you wonder, though, could someone like Charlene actually spark a change?
Right.
Like, could her actions inspire others to choose community over just looking out for number one?
That's a powerful thought.
So yeah, the Case of Charlene isn't just some dystopian thriller.
No.
It's about the power of human connection, even in the darkest of times.
Absolutely. And it leaves us with this question that we should all be thinking about, even when things are tough. How can we be there for each other? How can we make sure that compassion wins out?
Big questions to ponder, and honestly, that's what makes this story so great.
Yeah.
It's not just entertainment. It's a call to action.
I think so, too.
So thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Case of Charlene.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep those questions coming and keep those conversations going.
Absolutely.
And they charged him customs tax on his bicycle. And his friend said, well, just be glad you didn't have 2 seats on that bicycle. They would have charged it twice as much. And then he wrote a song, and he went back to England, and eventually came back to New York New York City and in the Bowery and became a very famous song. But it's only really had one verse in it. And so we wrote a few extra verses to it. And I don't even have to introduce the song because everybody knows it. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer true. I'm half crazy over the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage. I can't afford a carriage. But you'll look sweet upon a seat of a bicycle built for two.
Harry, Harry, here is your answer true. I'll not marry all for the likes of you.
Oh.
If you can't afford a carriage, there won't be any marriage. And I'll be switched, and I'll be hitched on a bicycle built for two.
Oh, Daisy, Daisy, think of the fun we'll have. We'll have memories that most folks never had. We'll glide along together, no matter what the weather. It'll be a treat to ride a seat on a bicycle built for two.
Harry, now Harry, think of the problems here. How would you manage with all of that heavy gear? You can't even steer a soup spoon, and your jokes would bore me too soon. Now, you must know I cannot go on a bicycle built for two.
Oh. But Daisy, Daisy, I just want you to know that when I'm with you, you'll see that our love will grow. You won't regret our building our home with a lot of children. We'll travel through life as man and wife on a dream that was made for two.
Okay, Harry, it seems kind of clear to me. A life that with you might possibly be. You convinced me that I could manage to live without a carriage.
Can be true and ride with you on a bicycle built for two. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay, thank you. Thank you, guys. Great to hear you. Okay, on deck is Jim Lawrence. Up now is Kristen Grippo.
This is my, this month, 12-year IWOW anniversary. Which is 21 backwards. Eileen, you like stole my theme. Well, I have, when I was 21, the summer that I turned 21, was in between when I had finished my classes. I walked that May with my older friends, but I was going to student teach that fall. So I hadn't really graduated because I still had to do the teaching, which I knew I could do. No problem. So my best friend and I, from when I was 16, did the obligatory Euro trip. And we bought a Euro pass with backpacks. And I think it was 5 weeks. And we were to do London and Paris and Barcelona and Florence and somewhere in Switzerland that I don't remember. Switzerland was just green. That's what I remember. Just green and green and green. So Erin was my best friend since I was 16, and we, despite my wanting to go really far away, even just to Boston University, which seemed far from a girl from Long Island, it turned out my dad said, well, you could go to BU and have to work for 4 years really hard, or you could go to SUNY State School, SUNY New Paltz, and you can have my grand dam, and we can afford that. So I cried. I remember but my brother, who's 11 years older than me, said, Kristen, believe me, go to New Paltz. And I did. And so Erin and I went to college together, and I'm so glad that we had that friendship. And so the summer I turned 21, we were in Europe together. And, well, we had a lot of those obligatory magical things that happen when you're 21. Really innocent. We were really innocent. We weren't even smoking weed. We were very lightly drinking. And I know nothing like Eileen and the hashish. I wish. I wish I was. I wish I was more wild in some ways, but we were satisfied with the poetry and the lighting and the art. And we haven't really thought about this in a long time, so I've been really enjoying sitting in the memory. London was kind of bland. The food wasn't very good. And we spent some time in Paris. We ended up meeting another friend of mine who I actually have known since elementary school. And I remember we met in Paris and traveled to Barcelona together. And I remember sitting on a dock in Barcelona and watching Jessie fall in love with Erin, watching it, knowing it. And she was and is so timid. And she was so afraid. And I, the outgoing friend that I am, was nervous because I was afraid of losing both of them. And I was afraid of, him usurping my friendship. And she held back because of that. But they're married to this day, and they have 3 wild sons. And it's so special that I got to be there. I remember the sun. I remember the song that was playing. Yeah, what an incredible thing to witness. And backing up, Jessie had met us. Jessie came down from Amsterdam when it was way more novel to be able to smoke a joint in the street. So rewind, he met us in Paris, and we had some silly times. Again, he had brought his own weed, and regretfully, I didn't even partake. And we went to Park Güell and saw the incredible sculptures and what is it called? Not collage. Sure. the friezes, mosaics, that's the word. And the mosaics, the Gaudi sort of swirling and whirling. We had like the craziest fondue, because they do fondue, but it's actually like not just cheese, right? You have like the cheese and the oil and the chocolate like overflowing. And then Jesse left us and we said goodbye, and Aaron and I traveled on to, boy, this is a little rambling, but you know what? As my grandmother used to say when she was telling a story, she would hold your wrist and say, wait a while. I know I only have 5 minutes. I know, but wait a while, I'll get there. This is the place I want to land. So those are some vignettes from that trip. And the one that I've been remembering the most, and actually it was rewind. It was before we met up with Jesse. So we had come from London and we arrived on the train from London to Paris. We met this American guy named Ramel. And as Americans are, he was like really outgoing and really talkative, and we were friendly enough, and somehow we decided that we were going to share a hotel when we got to Paris. Not in any like creepy way, it was just like a friendly thing. And we went out to dinner with him, and he was so, to me, American. And you know, my family's Italian American, and I like knew how to behave in European countries, I thought. And we ordered pizzas, and in Europe the pizzas are small, you know, they're personal and they're small. And he was like talking to the waiter in this really like obnoxious way, like not knowing it, you know, and he was like asking for extra things, and I was like mortified. And so again, I mentioned that Aaron's really timid. So we get to the hotel room, and he's sort of like imagining we're going to spend this whole time together in Paris, and he fell asleep, and we plotted. No, we didn't leave, but we plotted. We were like, okay, we wanted to go to Rouen anyway. So we were like, let's just tell him that we're going tomorrow, so we don't have to, in a very passive way, we don't have to like totally diss this guy. So we did. So we said, sorry, Ramel, we went off to Rouen. There's some famous paintings. Is it Monet's the Rouen Cathedral? And you can see them, I think, at the Met, and there's like the same cathedral in that impressionist way with like different lighting. Rouen is also the place where Joan of Arc was burned at the stake. So the vibes of this place. And so we arrive. We don't speak French at all. And we meet this French couple. We're asking for directions. And the wife is so enthusiastic. She says, I will show you around. In fact, when my husband's going to go, and I'll meet you here at this time, and I will show you around the entire city. And that's like one of those things that just happens when it happens always, but it happens like when you're 21, right? Right. And we're just like, we're these little innocent girls, and it's building. Like, she shows us all of these magical places, and she leaves us in this center. And there's a statue of Joan of Arc, and this church is built to her. And the church was like an upside down arc. Like, I remember it being wooden. The whole ceiling was wood, like feeling like I was in a ship upside down. And I'm almost done. I don't know how much time I have, but Aaron, when we were 16, said to me, just think about God. And I did. And she's also made me a mixtape that had Cat Stevens and Leonard Cohen and Joni Mitchell and that Grateful Dead song that Deadheads don't really like because it's kind of disco. It's like, nothing shaking on Shakedown Street, used to be the heart of the town. I had never like heard any of that. I'd never heard Cat Stevens or Joni Mitchell until I was 16 in like the 90s. And so we're in this church, and I never, at that time, I don't know if I'd ever felt anything like that, whatever that is. And later that night, we sat together in some old cafe with a stone window, drinking red wine. And it's another moment that I didn't really know where I was going to end this, but I think what I'd like to do is bring a bit of that moment back to the possibility, the feeling of like, oh, we are, is this what it is to be a grown-up? Is this what it is to be like of my own free will? Like, really? to sit in wonder, in the wonder of possibility. I'd like to call that in. I'd like to travel back to her, to those girls. I'd like to bring it back here. Because we're made up of all of the moments that we've been, right? And what a gift. What a gift to have this prompt to go back to that moment with the red wine with my best friend. And thank you for going on the journey with me. Thank you.
For the record, I would like to say I could never steal her thunder or her story, Kristen Grippo, because she shines so brightly. Did you hear that? I could never steal your thunder, even though I just shouted it out like I saw him. Okay, next we have the Rev. David B. Wallace, and on deck is Jeannie Bassis. Rev, and then Jeannie.
Because we need some sweetness, and we need some faithful common vision right now. But instead, I'm going to read I nod to those with better voices than mine. Instead, I'd like to read a poem by Tony Hoagland, and the poem is called America. I sometimes teach ethics in a seminary, and I always include this poem when I do. Eileen was teasing me if I was going to offer a homily tonight. But, well, watch what you hope for. But we'll let Tony have the honors tonight. You'll find immediately in this poem that Tony was a teacher. He taught creative writing at the University of Houston. And from the moment I heard the first poem of his that I heard, I wanted to meet him. I was quite enamored of his style and his language. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. He passed 5 years ago in Santa Fe. But many of my friends were his friends, and so I feel as though we're all cousins, and I suspect you are cousins in the same tribe. This is called America by Tony Hoagland. America. Then one of my students with blue hair and a tongue stud says that America is for him a maximum security prison whose walls are made of Radio Shacks and Burger Kings and MTV episodes where you can't tell the show from the commercials. And as I consider how to express how full of shit I think he is, he says that even when he's driving to the mall in his Isuzu Trooper with a gang of his friends, letting rap music pour over them like a boiling jacuzzi full of ball-peen hammers, even then he feels buried alive, captured and suffocated in the folds of the thick satin quilt of America. And I wonder if this is a legitimate category of pain, or whether he's just spin doctoring a better grade. And then I remember that when I stabbed my father in the dream last night, it was not blood, but money that gushed out of him. Bright green $100 bills gushing from his wounds. And this is the weird part. He gasped, "Thank God, those Benjamin Franklins were clogging up my heart. And so I perish happily, freed from that which kept me from my liberty." Which was when I knew it was a dream, since my dad would never speak in rhymed couplets. And I look at this student with his acne and cell phone and phony ghetto clothes, and I think, I'm asleep in America too. And I don't know how to wake myself either. And I remember what Mark said near the end of his life. I was listening to the cries of the past when I should have been listening to the cries of the future. But how could he have imagined 100 channels of 24-hour cable, or what kind of nightmare it might be when each day you watch rivers of bright merchandise run past you and you are floating in your pleasure boat upon the river even while others are drowning underneath you, and you see their faces twisting in the surface of the waters. And yet it seems to be your own hand which turns the volume higher. Tony Hoagland.
Hi, IWOW crowd. I am guitarless tonight. I got an ouchie. Not what? Sure, go right ahead. Because that's going to go really well with what we're going to do next. First, I want to say Deb Kaufman wasn't just brilliant, but she definitely was someone who held the light for lots and lots of people. The fact that 21 years later we're here is fucking mind-blowing. She would be so happy. She is happy. And her mom is happy. Hi, Sarah. So I would like to do something that we never do at IWOW. When Eileen was asking in the beginning kind of what the rules of IWOW are, I was the one who called out unconditional acceptance, right? So there's a lot of cheering that happens at IWOW. There's applause that happens at IWOW. There's enthusiasm that gets mustered up, for everybody who's brave enough to come up here. And it's a brave thing to be on stage in front of people and cameras, and somebody else is taking pictures back there. Oh, no. So as many of you, I don't want to say every single person, because I don't know every single person in this room, but as I know many of you in this room, I think that we share some similar sentiments and fears about what direction our country is in right now. And tonight, I don't know what time it's starting. All I know is that Bernie Sanders is doing a response on YouTube, at 10:30 or something like that. But tonight, the president who thinks he's a king is getting up in front of Congress. And my understanding is that a large number, hopefully a very large number, of Congress people who aren't buying the package. I'm trying to be really polite. Thank you. That they are either not going to show up, okay, they'll either boycott the speech, or they will show up and boo loudly and leave. Okay? So I would like us all to stand up and give ourselves permission for the first time at IWOW. And because the theme is 21, you might count 21 in your head. It's not making an official thing. But I want to give us all permission to boo. Ready, set, go! Boo! Yeah, really. there's a million ways to be in protest and to be activists. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, Jeannie. Good to see everybody. Mwah.
Thanks for doing something physical and dancey.
Thank you, Jeannie.
I appreciate that. Like I said, I mean, anybody can be a good poet, so it was all a big surprise to me when it happened. So because I've only been coming here for about 5 months because I've only known about it that long. But I didn't know, the history of the place except through all of you who talk about it. But I wrote an acrostic poem, and an acrostic poem, for those of you who do not know, you use the word that's the prompt, which would be 21, and you take the first letter of the word, and the first line has to have that letter as the first letter. So I'm going to read it kind of slow so you can see that I followed that form. To celebrate these 21 years, welcoming all who come to view, enter colorful spaces, artistry, nested on gallery walls, take solace, a pensive moment, yellow light of sunshine's warmth. Once you come, you will return. Nothing keeps us from entering this door. Elicits peace, art, word, song, a cultural throng. Now, this one was acrostic, but I'm going to tell you what ekphrastic is, which many of you have probably written, and whether you knew it was ekphrastic or not. Ekphrastic is a poem about a piece of art. It might be, like art like Deb creates. It might be a sculpture. It might be a ballet. It might be any kind of form of art. It could be about a song. So many of you probably have heard of Edward Hopper and seen many of his cityscapes. Well, this is about autumn at 1927. And it's my, interpretation, obviously. It's as if he knows loneliness is pervasive. That gal with her cup left to sip on coffee. He paints, brush punctuates, crosses T's and dots I's of life with distraught gloom, as if no one ever knew her. Stark, yet stoic, frozen in time and space. Her fashionable hat adorns her like a storefront mannequin, stone cold. So I took up not too much time, but I did want to mention, and I will mention it again in April, because I have several friends who are also Beat Poet Laureates, because I know them from other states. Melanie was so kind, we talked about it. I said, I'd like to invite a couple more Beat Poet Laureates to come here and have a night for Beat Poets to read. So she agreed. That's on May 2nd from 7 to 9. So we will have a Beat Poet of the United States who has a lifetime award, and we will have the Beat Poet Laureate of Connecticut. So I will keep reminding you, and it'll be on the website eventually. Thank you very much.
So, Rozzy, if you can unmute yourself.
Yes. This is really an honor for me to be introducing Rosalind Reese, an IWOW original and original all around. Rosalind!
Hi, everyone. I'm remembering, so I recently moved, and with me came my VHSs because I wanted to look back in time. And I looked at one of them, and it was with, some of you might remember or know Deb Gould, but Bob Balow had an improv theater group. I can't remember what it was called. And that was the precipice for IWOW. Like, Deb was inspired by Bob's event many years ago. And he used to live in Housatonic. And his ex-wife, Deb Gould, lives in Housatonic and contributes a lot. So shout out to Bob. Oh, I'm like just shaky, just feeling my heart. And whenever I feel my heart, I know that's when I need to speak. So I'm just going to give a little, just tell you how this story came, how this song came, in that I had to move, and my creativity in the process of my moving, and once I found a temporary home, just sort of was on pause in January. I just didn't feel, I don't know, it didn't come. And then I was in the co-op, and many of you might know Francine Ciccarelli, who used to come here and sing a lot with Eric, and always brought joy, and still does. She's at the co-op. And so somehow I wound up singing some older songs of mine to Francine there online at the co-op. Right, it's just, I'm sort of like a musical minstrel. I love just to sing spontaneously. And then there was somebody else, Jeff Decker was there, and getting his chicken lunch, and he listened. And then Barbara Graham showed up, and I sang to her. And it just, I don't know, it just felt good. And I walked into my car outside the co-op, and I'm in my car, and then I see these black birds, these huge, if you're in downtown Great Barrington. Oh, Suda. Sorry, someone I haven't seen in a while. These big, great black birds. And so I saw this black bird flying by. And then I saw a man walk out of the co-op bank. And then I saw a tree, and just in my noticing the beauty that was before me, the song came forth. Okay, I don't know what that's for. Tilt this one, tilt that up. See, I'm used to spontaneous and not. All right. Oh, and I'm like looking, it's like, oh, this is the first version of the song, but let's see. Okay. And it's always, I have a hard time getting the first notes. So let's just see. Crows flying in the sky, black-winged fingers moving by. I saw a man, I said to him, you're beautiful too. You're beautiful too. You can clap, you can click. It might help me. Saw a tree standing round, gazing up to heaven, rooted down. Thought to myself, what a magical sight. You're beautiful too. You're beautiful too. No matter, oh no, okay, oops, okay, keep on going. Anytime you're feeling blue, paint the sky a magenta blue. Change your perspective, see what you see. Beauty abounds, begins with thee. At the lake, walked right in, embraced by water, began to swim. Water reflected golden light, echoed to her, you're beautiful too. You're beautiful too, yeah. At the mountain, present and strong. Records of time, no, at the mountain, present and strong. Records of layers of all that's gone. Still you're here showing the way. You're beautiful too. You're beautiful too. No matter your color, your sex, or your choice, no matter your thoughts, talk, or some voice, you are nature in all her ways. You're beautiful too. You're beautiful too. You're beautiful too. And there's only one you.
I've been coming on and off for several years, and Deb has touched many of us, and she's touched me as well. I wrote a song for her, and tonight I thought would be a beautiful song to sing for her. If I can get through this. I'm pretty nervous. These are, okay, does everybody know what this is? Oh, yes, it's an auto harp. And this one's called, it's a diatonic. It means this one can only play in the key of G, so it has beautiful harmonies in it. It has many, it's almost like a 12-string guitar, you know, where they have double, except there's 36 strings here that I had to tune before I came here. Hope it stays good. This song is called Thank You, Peaceful Dove. And that's who I think Deb is. Thank you, peaceful dove. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your giving. Thank you, peaceful dove. You bring joy. You bring us light. Oh, you bring us shining to light our way. You bring your heart and spirit too. It touches everything, everything, everything you do. Oh, thank you, peaceful dove. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your giving heart. Thank you. You are the sun, the wind and stars. You bring your spirit wherever you are. You are a teacher of distant land. You are the gold at rainbow's end. What do we say? And we say, thank you, peaceful love. Thank you for your love. Thank you for big heart. Thank you, peaceful love. Thank you, Deb. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Deb. Thank you.
Thank you, Regina, for coming out.
I thought about what I was doing when I was 21. And so I'm going to start a couple of years before that, and we'll see how this goes. So I grew up an Italian American, Roman Catholic. I was a really good girl. I mean, a really good girl. When I think back of all the things I could have done, because my parents trusted me. Why? Because I was a really good girl. Whenever I did anything, I'd go home and tell my mom whatever it was that I did. So I had no curfew. And I really wanted to go away to college. And unfortunately, I got a scholarship to a university in New York City, which is where I lived. And that's ended up where I went because it was cheap. And so after 2 years of living at home and going to this college, I had worked while I was in college too, because I was fiercely independent. After 2 years and not able to get a full-time job for the summer, I said to my parents that I was going to go backpacking in Europe. So I took my money and I got a rail pass, landed in London, did 2 months. And July 17th in Carcassonne, France, I decided that I needed to grow up, and going back to college wasn't going to do it. So, and I wasn't strong enough to go home and tell them that I wasn't going back to college. So I decided to just stay in Europe. So I spent a month backpacking around Ireland, and then I got a job in Amsterdam working in a youth hostel, making beds and cleaning up after other people's lunch and stuff. And so 2 years forward, when I was 21, I had been working in advertising and thought, I don't know what I want to do in my life. I was a pre-med student, and going back to college and taking organic chemistry that's not it. And I had, volunteered at a hospital, but I really wanted to work with physicians. And having traveled around Europe, it was clear to me I didn't want to be in the U.S. to study, because I was in France, and France was French people, and you went to Italy and they were Italian, and the cultures were so different, yet they were so close. And so I really wanted to study abroad and learn about myself, my culture, and whatever culture I was in. And it became really apparent to me that I wanted to study to promote social change. So I was looking at different colleges, and I found one. It was a Quaker college called Friends World College. They had 6 centers around the world, and I still had 2 more years, and I figured Guatemala would be the easiest one. Spanish rather than Swahili or Japanese, definitely. So I told my parents, and I left from New York on the bus and took the bus to Guatemala. So when I got into Mexico, I went to this town called San Luis Potosí to see Maria. Now, she didn't know I was coming, but she was the person that I made beds with at the youth hostel with. So I studied 4 years of French, and all I can say is je ne parle français. Never studied Spanish. So I get to San Luis Potosí, I call up on the phone, someone answers, and I went, Maria, and someone comes to the phone, she goes, hello, or she probably said, hola, and I went, Maria, yes, or she said, whatever, and I said, it's Meryl, holy shit, where are you? And I said, I'm in San Luis Potosí. So that was my first little bit of being in there. And then I got on the bus, and from San Luis Potosí, I went to Mexico City, and got to Mexico City on one bus, and then I had to go to another a bus station, and it was about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't quite know how to get there, so I was really nervous, and the time passed, and then I saw these little kids that were going to school, and I thought, somebody's got to speak English in that school. So there I was with my big backpack, my day pack, and a portable typewriter, one that wasn't electric, that following these kids. And I was kind of big, not as big as I am now, but I was kind of big. And the kids are like looking behind me and talking to one another. And the next thing I know, they come to me, and now one's holding my backpack, one's holding my typewriter, two have my hands. They bring me into school straight to the English teacher. Straight to the English teacher. And there's a whole bunch of them now. It's not just the 6 that were walking. It's like the whole class is bringing me. And she was the sweetest. Like someone mentioned earlier, this happens when you're 21. Well, it happened when I was 21. The English teacher brings me to the bus station, puts my backpack in there, and says, I'll take you to the archaeology museum, but I'll pick you up at 3 o'clock so you can get your bus at 4:30. So there I am. I'm now on my way to Guatemala City, and it's straight. It's a long, long journey. We get to the border, and the border, this is what it looked like in in the northern part of of Guatemala, which is better to go through the mountains than the ocean because it's really hot. So we get there, and I'm looking for my backpack, because the border is there, and I just have to cross over the border, and then there's a guard that's at that little hut. And I go to the back of the bus, and no backpack. And I'm going big, and I'm pointing to green, and the bus driver goes, meaning he took it off like 2 towns before. And so I understand that the only place I can stay is with the 3 smiling guards male guards in the guardhouse. And not important to say, but I'll say it, I was a virgin. I wasn't about to sleep, I was really nervous. I dressed very conservatively. And so we had dinner. There were 2 tables, them and me, and then I slept like this the whole night. And the next day at 6 o'clock in the morning, the bus, a school bus, which we call Stu Bus, but is the bus for Guatemala, pulls up, and I cross over the border. He didn't even look, and I could have brought anything into the country. It was like, oh, hola, Meryl, how are you? And that was my entryway into Guatemala.
I'm sorry we didn't bring our dog tonight because he loves this song.
Archie's favorite song, without Archie.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
You want some audience yodelers?
Sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Another IWOW rule, audience participation is encouraged.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I get it. This is a song that Jimmy Rogers made famous. He was a very famous yodeler. I had a friend named Ramblin' Bob. He used to steal, gamble, and rob. He thought he was the smartest guy around. But I found out last Monday that Bob got locked up Sunday. They've got him in the jailhouse way downtown. He's in the jailhouse now. He's in the jailhouse now. Well, I told him once or twice to stop playing cards or shooting dice. He's in the jailhouse now. Yodeling, 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 yodeling. Well, Bob liked to play his poker, pinochle, wits, and euchre, but shooting dice, it was his favorite game. Well, he got thrown in jail with nobody to go his bail. The judge then said that he refused a fine. He's in the jailhouse now. He's in the jailhouse now. Well, I told him once or twice, stop playing cards and shooting dice. He's in the jailhouse now. Yodelee, 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 yodelee. Well, I went out last Tuesday. I met a girl named Susie. I said I was the swellest guy in town. Well, we started spending my money, and she started calling me honey. We took it at every cabaret in town. We're in the jailhouse now. We're in the jailhouse now.
I told that judge right to his face.
Tell him, honey.
I don't think I like the place. In the
Jailhouse now. Yodelee, 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 yodelee. Thank you.
At least for 10 years I've been coming here, I would say, at least. And yeah, it was something about Debbie, right? I mean, so last year I wanted to write something for her, and I went on her website or webpage and took some of her sayings and wrote this song. It's called Room to Dream. You are the spark that planted the seed for us to try and try and try. Even when we thought our work wasn't worth a damn. Courage will win the day and love will heal the heart. Brace your wonder. Look for the pop-up paper doodle, doodle, doodle. Show yourself some self-respect and love every card that's in your deck. Rock and roll on your crazy highway, singing to your heart's content. Whoa, you are a special girl. You don't know how much you're loved. You don't know how far your words may carry. You don't know how much you're missed. But maybe someday these words, they might break through. Oh, they might break through. Room to dream, everything in its own time, to have the gift of a simple and peaceful life. What's happening now? I'm here with you right now. We're in this moment with thankful hearts. She paints her tulips pink. She loves peppermint patties and a nice, cool drink. She is our shining light, our beacon of hope in the darkest night. She paints the perfect tree. Singing with the birds is her specialty. Oh my, oh my, oh my. You are a special girl. You are a special girl. You don't know how much you're loved. You don't know how far your words may carry. You don't know how your inspiration inspires. You don't know how much you're missed. But maybe someday these words, they might break through. Oh, they might break through. You are a special girl. Room to dream. Our quiet place, our peaceful time. Quiet, peaceful time. Peaceful time. Time. You are a special girl. Woo, wow. Wow, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. So I've been working on this song for a couple weeks, I guess. It's called Hope. It's not my song, but thank you. But yeah, it's called Hope. Let's see. It's the words that get you, right? Jeez. Can't get the melody either. Let's see. Huh? It's not Whisper of Hope. It's not my song. Let's see. Damn it all. Oh, I know. Let me put this capo on. Hey, let's see here. Maybe this might help. It's definitely not gonna. It's definitely not gonna hurt. Let's see. La da da dee, la da da dee, la da da da, la da da dee, la da da da. I'm here to sing a song about hope. I'm not inspired much right now, but even so, I came out here to sing a song, so here I go. I guess I think that if I tinker long enough, one will appear. Well, look, it's here. One verse is done. The work's begun. I'm here to sing a song about hope. In spite of everything ridiculous and sad. Well, I got dressed, I underestimated how much that would take. I didn't break until right now. I sing of hope and don't know how. But maybe if I substitute strength, because I'm strong enough. I've been through lots of things I never thought I could, but so did you. I know that's true. And so we sing a song about hope. Though I can't guarantee there's anything behind it, I must be strong to show my daughters I can find it. And so today, when life is crazy and impossible to bear, it must be there. Fear never wins. I wish for hope. See, I said hope. The work begins. And maybe if I substitute strength, because I'm strong enough. I've been through lots of things I never thought I could, but so did you. I know that's true. So we'll sing a song about hope. All right, thank you very much.